see anything like this ever again. So watch it.
Hey guys, how are y'all? Welcome to the first episode of Thank God It's Football. Here I'm Shrikar, joined by Marcel, Jeet, Arnav, and Gopal. Here we're just a couple of friends. We're gonna discuss about what happened the previous football season, the Premier League season basically. And here is the review of the first five teams we're gonna discuss. We're gonna have regular episodes of such this thing, and each episode will have five teams. So here's the first five teams. We're gonna start off with Arsenal today. So as you all can see, Arsenal has had kind of a tricky season with three managers: Unai Emery, Freddie Lundberg, and Mikel Arteta. Clearly, they've not finished at a position they would have wanted at the start of the season, and it's safe to say that Aubameyang is the reason that they finished in eighth at least. Here are Marcel, Arnav, Jeet, and Gopal are going to discuss about how Arsenal season went basically.
Personally, I think Arsenal are eighth primarily because of Unai Emery. He got us to that position where we couldn't come back. He had failed formations. He kept experimenting with the team and the formation. And we started out pretty well actually. 2 wins here and there. But then once we played Liverpool and we lost, it was just downfall from there. Multiple draws, multiple losses.
Personally, for me, other than Aubameyang, I don't see anybody in the Arsenal team who played up to their potential this season. Obviously, excluding Burnley, talking
Leno
about
played
outfield players.
better than he was supposed to play.
That's what I said. No, I'm talking about outfield players. Nobody other than Aubameyang played up to their potential. I think that is what cost Arsenal, and that is why they're eighth.
I also feel like
Okay.
the board has not backed Arsenal to the level that they could have. I feel they signed Nicolas Pepe, but then you can clearly see that the defense was not looked at all. With only David Luiz being bought. First of all, David Luiz is a little bit old and all, so
He's
you can
error prone. All the defenders
He's
are error
very-
prone, but David
he
Luiz
is
is
very
the most
error-prone.
experienced.
He's the most experienced player, yes, but then also if you see previously when he was with Chelsea and all the amount of mistakes he used to make,
Not many.
they basically didn't invest in their defense as much as they should have. Leno was the star of the defense, and he
He
was actually
definitely
bought last
needed a
season.
better defense in front of him.
The thing is that I think David Luiz is the person who considered the most penalty in the Premier League this season, and without Aubameyang, I don't see Arsenal getting anywhere. With his 22 goals, so he mainly played a huge part.
I mean, see,
He
end of
basically
the day,
kept us in the league.
end of the day, I can't see Arsenal blame any one manager. Like basically, like Jeet said, there was no board backing the manager. It's not like they backed Unai Emery either. They didn't back any of the players. I mean, any of the managers. I mean, and as far as buying goes, Arsenal thought they had a very good transfer window when they bought Nicolas Pepe, and Pepe hasn't yet shown yet. I mean, it's obviously one more
He's
thing
not a
that
flop, but he hasn't justified his price tag.
he hasn't justified his price tag, and on top of it, I mean, see, Pepe shouldn't be blamed because it's his first Premier League season.
It's his first season. It takes
First
time to
season,
adapt.
and
Yeah, fine.
it's definitely not
He's
like
also coming from the
And
French
he's also
league,
played. He's coming from a French league. He's
coming from
played
the
under
French
three
league, which is
different
not as
managers.
yeah. So you
And
can continue.
do you think, Marcel, personally as an Arsenal fan, do you think Pepe had, or your attack line had something that they could rely on from their midfield on the attack side of
Nope.
it?
Nope.
except
No,
for
we
some
didn't have.
glimpses from Ceballos or
We did
something.
not have. We did not have any direct link from our midfield to attack.
Yeah. So you could see how Pepe was failing, and Aubameyang was literally carrying your team because Aubameyang is that kind of a player. He has pace, he has good
He
finishing,
had to.
and he has the height to score headers here and there. But yes, I
But
mean,
then
yeah, sure.
we should definitely give credit to Arsenal because the way they finished the season, honestly,
I
Yeah,
think
after
We
Unai
ended on a
Emery,
positive
it
note.
was exactly after Unai Emery, it was a disaster. The way Mikel Arteta took care of a sinking ship was commendable, and
I
they
think
deserve the
we are
FA Cup
missing one
win
key
also.
player. I
sorry.
think we are missing one key player, Bukayo Saka. He played so
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just about to say that the youngsters of Arsenal have really shown
They really stepped up.
what they're. Yeah, they've stepped up a lot, especially Bukayo Saka. We could see that he really wanted to play for the team. And one more player who we must give credit to, even though he was injured for the first half of the season, is Kieran Tierney.
Tierney. Oh
As
man,
soon
he
as
was our
the
best signing. He was Arsenal's best signing this
exactly for
season.
this season, I feel Kieran Tierney has been your best signing. After coming back from the restart, after the whole COVID pandemic and everything, he has probably been the best defender you have had. And yeah, and of course Bukayo Saka. I mean, I see a very very bright future for him. And no, man, that guy saved your ass so many times.
one thing
And
I
and
personally liked about Mikel Arteta was the way he backed his youngsters. He played Nketiah bench Lacazette. Honestly, I wouldn't dare to do stuff like that. Would you?
exactly.
all that is pep, bro. All that is pep. Okay, and all I wanna ask you all is, if you were in
Waiting.
Arsenal, if you were in the place of the Arsenal managerial position, what would you do with one, Mesut Ozil, two, Guendouzi? Because as we've seen, Guendouzi has a big mouth but hasn't really proven himself for shit on the pitch. He has zero goal involvements, and defensively, I don't see his numbers, actually glowing as such, for him to talk enough. So,
One,
And I'm
sell,
hearing that
two, sell.
Guendouzi
End of
wants him in
story.
Villa.
what would you do with Ozil, Arnav?
Sell,
Sell and
save money.
Guendouzi,
Sell. As I said, one, sell. Two, sell. Save money.
Marcel.
Buy someone else. Complete
See,
Ceballos' transfer.
Ozil is our highest paid in the squad for a reason. No one can match his technical ability. So either give him a chance or just get him out of the club.
But then, don't you think he has had enough chances? I mean, under Arteta, he did get chances where he didn't
And
really.
he was playing well. He was playing well.
He was playing well, but then how many attacking returns, or how do you quote it? How many
He
goal
this season
involvements?
he created our most chances, even though he hasn't played much.
Oh, then why exactly do you think Arteta is not giving him enough chance?
Arteta isn't the one. Arteta wants him to play. It's the board who does not want him to play.
Oh, that's fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
so
about
my
Guendouzi, when he has his market value, just cash in on him. Get
And I'm
in,
hearing
use
Villarreal
that
also.
money, uh, get in a proper centre back or a proper
but
right back.
but right now you guys are linked with Gabriel, who's a very 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 good left-footed center back,
Centre back, yeah.
and you have William Saliba coming in as well. So you have a good, young, solid defense. What I feel you guys need is, see, first of all, with Ozil, he is tremendous. He is absolutely one of the best players
But
Arsenal
he's
has had
also
in recent years.
past his prime.
He's past his prime. The problem is that with him, with the lack of opportunity he's getting, his motivation has really,
Mm.
taken a hit. So the best is to cash on him now while you can, because selling him, you'll be saving a lot of money since he's your highest paid player and everything. And you really need to strengthen on your midfield. See, I see Ceballos and um,
Uh-huh.
Guendouzi, but I feel Guendouzi is going to be sold. And to be honest, I don't see Xhaka as a very uh, good central defensive midfielder. So you need a playmaker and you need a really good uh, a
We
CDM.
we definitely need a creative mid. Our
Exactly.
chances
We
created
need a
were horrible. I think we were
very
16th
bad.
or 17th.
Exactly.
All Arsenal fans will be praying for party transfer. And on that note, let's conclude on Arsenal, guys. What rating would you give for to Arsenal for the 1920 season out of 10?
A
Uh,
5 or a 6.
Okay, so Marcel,
Six.
you being an Arsenal fan, you give the first opinion on what you think Arsenal should be getting.
A 6.
Okay, so Sheikha,
it's a tricky one. I'd go with yeah, 5, 5.5,
five,
5. Yeah.
5.5. All right, and Gopal,
5.5.
5.5. Arnav,
I would personally give them a 6 or a 6.5 just for Mikel Arteta and their FA Cup.
I agree with you. So at the beginning, I was thinking of giving an Arsenal 6, but after Arteta coming in and the FA Cup win, I would give them a 6.5 this season. So I guess to say the least, all of our scores combined, I think we give Arsenal 6 on 10.
Yes, a 6 on 10.
Cool. Done. So that has been our review on Arsenal. Moving on, we have Aston Villa. So Aston Villa was managed by Dean Smith. They finished in 17th position. They got a total of 35 points with 9 wins, 8 draws, and 21 losses. Their highest scorer was Jack Grealish. And for me, I would say Aston Villa had a okay season. Um, they just came into the Premier League after quite a while, and um, they've been they've been good in terms of staying up in the Premier League. So I
They
feel
they they really got lucky.
They
they
got
One
they
thing,
got
lucky.
very lucky. Yes, they did get very lucky, but then luck is always a part of football. So
that is true.
what are your guys thoughts on Aston Villa's season this year?
Yeah, so
They were
beginning of the
decent at
season,
first.
Aston Villa spent around 150 million. They bought in 11 new players. So it was obviously going to take time for the team to gel. And I feel Aston Villa are very lucky to survive this season. Just a point above Bournemouth, 11 new players, and I think we can expect positivity from them in the next season.
I agree with you. I
Uh,
feel like
Yeah, I agree with
feel like
Arnav. It takes time to get that chemistry in, but
exactly
they've been lucky, and
they
they've
have.
played decent football. They played good football.
So I have one thing to say. I would say that without Jack Grealish,
They would
Aston
have
Villa
been
would have been relegated this
that
season.
is
relegated.
that is for sure, bro. It was
That
just
is for
3
sure.
words. It is Jack Grealish who kept them in the league. I mean, I'm
It
not
was
saying the
exactly.
others were bad, but Jack Grealish was just
Even Trezeguet played well.
considerably like, yeah, Trezeguet was good.
It's
McGinn was good. If it weren't for McGinn's injury and the kind of form McGinn was in at the start of the Prem, they would have been in a much better position. And
better position.
frankly, don't say anything, but don't blame me, but I feel Jack Grealish and McGinn would both start in many midfields. I mean, together.
I
I don't know
I
about
agree.
Megan, but Jack Grealish, yeah, definitely.
Jack Grealish, I mean, I'm still surprised how he doesn't start for his own country or how he hasn't gotten a cap yet. Because,
Exactly.
and
I
dude
really do
gives his life
wonder.
for the game. Dude gives his life for the game. And
So
the way he went down with Villa and didn't leave, I
He's
mean,
a
chose
proper
not to
leader.
leave. Chose not to leave
yeah,
until he brought Villa back to the Premier League is really something commendable. And yes,
He,
as
he
far
is
as
living his
and
he is
as
living
far
his
as this
childhood
thing,
dream,
what
right?
Arnav said, I totally agree. I mean, the point with the chemistry and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I don't think the manager can be blamed really because it wasn't really something the manager could have done. But yes, I mean, of course, they got lucky with the whole Sheffield incident. Obviously, I felt sad for Sheffield, but every team got fucked by the VAR, so there's not much we can do about that.
True.
right.
But yeah, as far as I am concerned, if it weren't for Jack Grealish, I don't see Aston Villa anywhere.
Yeah,
One
same.
interesting fact about Villa, Dean Smith, Jack Grealish, both were childhood Villa fans. Right now, they're living their dream. One is managing their boyhood club, other is a leader of their boyhood club.
Interesting.
Damn, that's a really nice piece of information.
Yep.
So then I guess that's all that we have for Aston Villa. They've not had a very big season, but thanks to Jack Grealish, they are uh, here. So what are your ratings? What would you rate? What would you rate Aston Villa's season?
Mm, See, if you say what would you rate Jack Grealish, I'd say a 9. But Aston Villa overall probably a 6. Yeah. I mean,
Six. All right.
they did a great job staying up. I mean,
Exactly.
Who
They did.
thought they would have stayed up? Because everybody bet that it was Norwich and Aston Villa who were going to go down. Sheffield had a miraculous season, but everybody knew. I mean, everybody felt that Aston Villa will going to go down,
At the beginning of the season, I'm not going to lie, I said all the three teams that got promoted were going to go back
go
down.
down.
So that was Aston Villa, Sheffield, and
Norwich.
Norwich. And considering Aston Villa's season this year, I would give them a 5.5 on 10 because they were not superb, but they did manage to stay up. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd give
like
them a
Arnold said, after spending so much money, uh, I think they should have like been little more up there in the table. So same, even I would go for a 5.5
all right,
for Aston Villa.
Marcel
All things considered, I'd give Villa a 6.
6 and Arnav.
Without considering the amount of money they spent, I would give them a 7.5. But if you're spending 150 million, just finishing 17th, 1 point above, probably a 5.5.
yeah.
All right. So it's safe to say that we would give Aston Villa 6 as well.
I'd say 5.5. Actually, let's just make it 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
5.5. All right,
Yes.
cool. So moving on, we have Bournemouth next. So Bournemouth manager Eddie Howe, position 18th. They finished on 34 points with 9 wins, 7 draws, and 22 losses. Their highest scorer, Callum Wilson. So, what are your thoughts on Bournemouth's season this year?
I read something about Eddie Howe that when he came to the job, Bournemouth's dressing rooms had no electricity
Like,
about
yes,
5 years ago, and from there he brought them to the Premier League. See, that's a fairy tale that didn't really end as a fairy tale. I mean, it's not really a fairy tale ending, but then, I mean, I feel the saddest for that man there. I mean, it's
yeah,
safe to say
that
that
is
there will be clubs asking for Eddie Howe because
that
this
is
is the Premier
Deserves to
League. They
manage
are
a
going to be
bigger
sacking him.
club.
he does. So I feel like Bournemouth. They started off the season very slow. They didn't know they didn't have the right balance in their squad, and it was just not smooth sailing for them. And then towards the end of the season, Ryan Fraser, one of their what's it called, the star
Standout
players, he decided
performers,
not
yeah.
to sign even an extension to finish off the season. So it was like a very up and down season for Bournemouth. Eddie Howe didn't know how to manage his team, uh, which is unfortunate. But you know,
And
it
then
was
they had Harry Wilson, who was on loan from Liverpool. He
yes,
he was performing really well for Bournemouth until he got injured. The win
exactly.
against
So
City, that was all Harry Wilson.
it was.
Bournemouth had, few shining lights here and there in the season. That was definitely there. One thing
They had
I would like to
individual brilliance.
exactly individual brilliance.
Exactly. They were not playing as a team.
One thing I'd like to ask you all is like a team like Bournemouth at December struggling. Would you fire a manager like Eddie Howe mid-season, bring in some fresh energy?
Oh.
See, again, I feel like the same with Arsenal not backing Arteta with any transfers. I feel like the board as well didn't back Eddie Howe with any transfers, so he was not able to strengthen his squad.
And see, as far as Eddie Howe goes, I didn't really see. quality in the Bournemouth team. Like on paper, they were good. Believe me, on paper, they were good. Like,
They
see,
didn't show that
and
on the pitch.
on the pitch, they weren't. And as far as this thing goes, everybody tipped off Bournemouth to be at least in the top 6, 7 at the start of the season because of the fixtures that they had. They
Individuals.
faced the
Mm.
bottom two. I mean, they faced the two promoted clubs in the start itself. They faced two of them. They faced both Aston Villa and Sheffield, and to their surprise, the promoted club. I mean, surprised all of us when the way they performed. And I mean, everybody thought Bournemouth's attack was something that was gonna rip apart for the likes of Aston Villa or Norwich or Sheffield. But then the way Sheffield performed and the way Aston Villa performed, they were already caught off guard and they were off their game as it is. I mean, they didn't really have the fairy tale start to the season that they hoped they were going to have. And I
So
think
this
that's what
brings
messed
me
up.
back to my previous question. Would you have fired Eddie Howe mid-season and brought somebody else?
I don't really
Because
think that
you
would have
you
helped.
see the potential Bournemouth has, Josh King, Callum Wilson, Harry Wilson.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that's again a debatable thing. I mean, do you really think a new managerial bounce is what Bournemouth required? I mean,
Eddie Howe's tactics weren't working. Probably, I don't think so. There was something wrong in trying new tactics.
See, there's one more thing. Callum Wilson was very injured as well. He was constantly getting injured. So, he got a few games in and then, he couldn't settle himself and then he would be injured again. So Bournemouth also had a lot of injuries on their plate. So I wouldn't blame it solely on Eddie Howe. Yes, his tactics were not great this season, but then I wouldn't blame it solely on him. It was, you know, the lack of squad depth, I would say.
So, are you guys tipping Bournemouth to be promoted next season?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
totally depends. They've just made quite a lot of money from the sale of Nathan Ake. So if they can spend that wisely
yeah, it
and buy
depends on
some
how
good,
they spend their money. True. I mean,
exactly how they
obviously,
spend the
they
money.
have to make up for Nathan Ake.
That
Yeah,
is
they do.
true.
They
They need to
And
really
buy.
have to. They really
and
have
on
to
this note,
fill Nathan Ake's space. Yeah.
let's rate Bournemouth season. We'll start with Jeet.
So getting relegated, Eddie Howe with a very tactless season, I would say a 4.
Gopal,
4.5.
Marcel,
A 4 seems fair.
Shrikar.
Yeah, 3.5 to a 4. Yeah.
I would all give them three because I was personally expecting a lot from Bournemouth,
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah.
and I think we can conclude our group's rating to be 3.5.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. We can. That sounds good. Right. So the last team for this episode is Brighton. So Brighton, Graham Potter was the manager. They finished in 15th position with 41 points, 9 wins, 14 draws, 15 losses, and the highest scorer was Neil Mopai. So, what do you guys have to say about Brighton's season this
They turned it around really well. I mean,
year? They
they
did.
were a few. Yeah, they
They
were one
did.
of the teams that were going to be, that were tipped to be relegated.
Tip for relegation. Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, true.
They've been very good in defense also, having how many 9 clean sheets, I think.
post
Yeah, they've had
lockdown,
9.
Lewis Dunk has been a beast. Post lockdown,
Lewis Dunk,
Lewis Dunk
Lewis
has
Dunk
He
been
showed.
one
was
of the
he
best
was
players in the
he was
Premier
good
League.
even before
Yeah, he
lockdown.
was pretty good before lockdown, but I mean, the way he stepped up post lockdown just to keep his team. I mean, he's a captain too, so he had to step his game up. And the way he stepped it up was like really beautiful to see. And I mean, the few things that he did, the really quick free kick against Liverpool, if I'm not wrong,
Mm.
that he scored, and I mean,
Yeah.
he just did a few very good and very eye-catching things that actually kept Brighton in the this
So,
thing.
so
And Matt Ryan.
you would say that he did well, considering the fact that he was a leader as well. So he led from the front.
Yeah, I mean,
So
leader, and they have a gem in the form
Matt
of
Ryan.
Trossard. Trossard is a
yeah,
gem
Trossard
that
is
they
a
have.
really good good
I mean,
exciting
Trossard
season.
was a steal. He was a steal, just for 18 million. I think
yep,
Brighton did great business
yep,
there.
that was
Was
great
And
good
business.
now
business right there.
And Brighton
now
now for
they've
the next
signed.
season as well, they've got a few really good signings as well for very cheap as
Yep,
that too,
they've got
And
especially in the
Adam
experience of
Lallana and Joel Veltman.
yes, and
Well played.
Brighton have a really beautiful, well balanced in the form of age, experience. There's good enough experience, and at the same time, there's good fitness. They're young runners. Like at the age of, at the young age that Trossard is, the way he's making runs so peacefully in the Premier League is unheard of. You don't see
Can
players
I
just
can I
coming
just
into the
say
Premier League. Yeah,
can I just say one more thing?
yeah,
So one thing I look at Brighton and I see what they have is they have a very good right back right now with Tariq Lamptey, who's just come in from Chelsea. So he might not be the biggest player, but then he does show a lot, and he has probably been one of the better players for Brighton since the restart. And I would contribute some of the success they had to Tariq Lamptey. And one more player who I
Right.
would really uh, like to commend has been their goalkeeper, Matt Ryan.
Matt
Matt
Ryan.
Ryan.
He has been really, really good this season, considering the fact that except for Dunk in front of him, they had a slightly shaky defense. They were doing very poorly before the restart. So I would give props to Matt Ryan as well.
Uh, Actually, I feel Brighton's defense is sorted right now, and since bringing in Joel Weltman, they're strengthening that right back position. Tamte will probably
Exactly.
an understudy to him. And they bought in Lanana also now, so their midfield is also looking good. I think
Yeah,
this is where they lagged in the 1920 season. Midfield.
true.
It's fair to say that they'll be comfortable next season.
Uh, Too soon for that.
I mean,
So
So
I
it is
guess
a Premier League after all, so you never know.
yeah, that's also true. So concluding, what would you guys say? Brighton's rating has been this season, starting
Yeah,
with
I
Peter.
was pretty impressed. I'd give them an 7.5, 8. Yeah,
7.5, 8. All
yes,
right,
8.
Gopal,
I'll give them a 7.
7. All right, Arnav,
solid 7.
7, and Marcel,
7.
7. I also give them a good 7. So I would fair to say that our group rating for them would be a 7 on 10.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so at the beginning of this slide, I by mistake said that this was our last team, but doing calculations, I realized we do have one more, which is Burnley. So Burnley was managed by Sean Dyche this season. They finished in 10th with 54 points, 15 wins, 9 draws, and 14 losses. And their highest scorer was Chris Wood. So what do you guys have to say about Burnley's season?
It was all
Burnley
down to Nick Pope,
It
man.
was
excellent job.
very good.
It was
Burnley had
all
a
down
very
to
good
Nick
season.
Pope.
Rock solid defense.
I mean, see, when it is Sean Dyche, you already know you're going against an aggressive goddamn defense. With people like Ben Mee, Tarkowski, who do you call it? Bardsley, all these people behind there, it's really scary after a point of time for attackers. I mean, Burnley doesn't care. Burnley really doesn't care. Burnley will go for the player or the ball. They're gonna take one of the things out. And we've seen that more than once. And as far as the Nick Pope's keeping goes, oh my god. I mean, it was just, I think, one clean sheet away from the Golden Glove or something. He was
Yes.
beautiful.
So
He was
I would
beautiful
also
this
say
season.
that Nick Pope
Totally.
had a lot of help from his defense.
Yeah, Nick Pope definitely had a lot of help from his defense.
So I would say that
And
Burnley had probably the most solid defense, but not being rude to Burnley or anything, I feel like they were the most boring team to watch this season. Thoughts on that?
you call them boring, but I think I love Burnley because they love their clean sheets. Defense is underrated in the modern game. Burnley is
That's true.
playing on that. They're a classic team. Strong defense, good defensive midfielders, one target man, good wingers with the Dwight McNeil, target man like Charlie or Chris Wood and
Yes.
Austin.
I mean, you may call it boring, but as long as it
I
works,
wouldn't call it boring. It's a tactic.
yeah, and as long as it works, how does it matter?
It works, then it's good.
Yeah, I mean, see, it may be not the most fun team to watch,
And
but then
yeah,
you just know that it's gonna be fun looking at how much their defense is gonna keep themselves together. And yeah, I mean,
No.
end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's just a different point of view, and end of the day, that really worked for them. I mean, 54 points, 10 position, that's good enough for them.
I do have a controversial question for you guys.
Sure.
Ben Me and Tarkowski. What do you think of them starting for England?
That's the thing. So this Burnley team, the Burnley defense, is credit to Sean Dyche.
All right.
I don't think Gareth Southgate is nearly as aggressive enough as Sean Dyche for them to, play the way they do. I mean, for them to
Okay.
play the way they do, they have to get the green light, the go ahead from the manager saying, break their bones, I don't care, don't let the ball in. So,
So you would say that Tarkowski and Ben Me's success is just solely based on Sean Dyche?
it's not solely based on Sean Dyche, but it's definitely majorly based on Sean Dyche's tactics. Because see, end of the day, the mentality of a team is dependent on the captain and the manager. And
Ben Me was a really good captain.
Ben Mee was a good captain and an aggressive one. And with someone like Sean Dyche backing him, I
Yeah.
mean, Sean Dyche is not a person
Coming
who'd care
to
about a booking or two.
coming to English team, I think England loves centre backs, ball playing. England loves ball playing centre backs, and I think that is where Tarkowski and me are, not up to the mark when you compare them with Joe Gomez or probably have Stones or Maguire or even Fikayo Tomori.
True, true. Gopal, do you have anything to say?
I've told my share about their defense. It was all about their rock solid defense. Without that, it's tough.
I don't
Yeah.
think Tarkowski and Benme would actually work in the England team. The reason Burnley are so good is because of the way they play. The way they play is because of is because of
Sean Dyche.
their tactics. And I'm sure England, they like Arnav said, they love ball playing centre backs, and I don't see them starting for England. They may
All
be
right.
good for squad depth, but
Cool.
I don't see them starting for England.
So on that note, should we
I'm not
give?
sure about me, but Tarkowski either I guess will play in the Euros.
All right. Okay. So on that note, should we give our ratings for the Burnley team for this season?
I'd give
Yes,
them a solid 8.
8. All right. 8 from Shrikar. Marcel.
8, 8.5. 8.
All right. 8. Okay. Arnav.
8.5 for sure.
8.5. Gopal.
8.5.
8.5. I would give them a solid 8 as well. So is it fair to say that we give them a 8.5 on 10?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. This has been our first episode of Thank God It's Football. Please subscribe to our channel and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.